Good evening. My name is Howard Edelman. I'm your host for Israel and the Jewish World. Our show is called Radiation and Response. We continue our series on the medical research scientists at IMRC, the Institute for Medical Research, Israel, Canada, at Hebrew U. Tonight's guest is Dorith Shaham, a researcher in radiology. Israel has 570 radiologists. Dorith is a leading figure among them. Now, breast cancer is Israel's most commonly diagnosed malignancy. There are about 4,000 new cases a year and more than 900 deaths, likely because the breast cancer gene, BRCA, has a very high prevalence among Ashkenazi Jews. Therefore, imaging techniques are critical in early detection. Radiation is important for treatment. Israel is in the forefront in the use of very targeted and personalized applications of radiation in the treatment of cancers such as this. We will also look at the new on-the-spot emergency treatment vehicles of Magen David Adom. Speedy treatment saves lives. But innovation is not the exclusive preserve of technology. Institutions also innovate. Yossi will interview Eddy Sonshine to discuss raising money for philanthropic purposes. Please stay with us. This is the last in our series of shows and segments on innovation in medicine in Israel. And unlike the others, this won't be the focus on science. Our guest is Dr. Dorith Shaham. Welcome to the show. Now, I said this isn't, all the rest have been on innovations in science. Your innovation is quite differently. Can you describe it, what you're doing?
Okay, so our program is part of the Wilbush Patient-Centered Medical Forum.
And who is, it's named after whom? It's a Canadian, right?
Right. Dr. Wilbush is from Edmonton, Canada. He was born in Israel. He studied medicine in England in his 20s. Then he joined the British Army, and after that he had a very interesting life. He traveled all around. He spent some years in South America. He spent some time in the northern territories in Canada with Eskimos.
You're now called Inuit.
Okay.
Okay.
And he was a gynecologist, and also he has a PhD in anthropology. So
oh, I see. I didn't know that.
Yes. So he's a very fascinating person. I met him a year ago, last June, when he was here in Jerusalem. And he's a fascinating man. He has many, many interesting stories. And he's in his 90s now, but he's really young at heart. And I saw that he also met our students, our medical students here, and they really got along well. He understood them, and they understood him, and it was very
So how do you make this matchup? You meet him, and you must have an idea that you have to present to him. What was your idea?
So this is our program in medical humanities, which we teach in our faculty now for 3 years. What we did is that we developed the program year by year. So first we had only a program for first-year students, then in the second year for first and second year, and now we are in the third year of the program, the end of the third year, and we have a program for first, second, and third year of medical school.
And it's a requisite, this?
Right, it's required.
So it's a humanities requisite while you're going through medical school?
Right, right. And it's a concept in medical education which is called the spiral curriculum.
Spiral?
So, spiral. So
okay.
You revisit the same topics again and again, and each year the level is more advanced. So both in this specific field of medical humanities, and also it relates to the medical studies in general for the students.
As a philosopher, I think of medical humanities. Part of it would certainly be about medical ethics.
Right.
This would be research ethics, this would be patient ethics, it would be professional ethics in relationship to your colleagues. I assume that's a core part of the program.
Right.
And you start that in first year now.
Right.
Why did you see the necessity of having that program? Why didn't you go on? After all, medicine used to, leave behind the personal. It's become a very scientific field.
Right.
Why not leave it as a scientific field? Why the necessity?
Because there is a growing need for that, because as doctors became more professional, they start focusing on really very small parts of the body and not on the entire patients. And patients miss that. And I think also doctors miss that, because when you really interact with the patient as a human being, it's much more gratifying. And
but other than gratification, isn't there research to indicate that the therapy goes much better if there's an identification?
Definitely, everything is better. Even the costs go down when you interact well, when you make sure that the patients understand what you're explaining. There will be less visits. There will be the treatment will be much more targeted. So it's good for, anyway, 360 degrees. It's good for everyone. It's good for the patients. It's good for the physicians, for the medical team. It's good for society. So it's really something that, it should be done, because...
Well, how do you teach it? How do you teach a student comes in, especially students are primarily selected because they're maybe they're not. They used to be selected in most medical schools for their scientific acumen. Though I remember in medical school, they flunked them out on English, not on science, because we were all good scientists. And so there was something about needing English, but it was communication, but it didn't teach us any interpersonal communication. But you stress that.
Right.
And how do you teach it, though?
Okay, so we have actually 3 or maybe 4 levels of teaching these topics.
What are your topics?